You're listening to Rev It Up, a 5-part procurement podcast series powered by Jagger, where this time what happened in Vegas won't actually stay there. Hi there, I'm Philip Heitzen, and over the next 5 15-minute podcasts, I'll sit down with some of the stars from REV2018 to dig deeper into the biggest issues facing procurement and the skills you're going to need to accelerate your career and prepare for tomorrow. From AI to benchmarking, from balancing risk with competitiveness, to the leadership lessons that have got CPOs to the top, we'll chat about all the things that will make a real difference for your career. In today's podcast, I am joined by Sandy Hicks, the Chief Procurement Officer for the University of Colorado. And in our conversation, I explored the University of Colorado's collaborative approach to procurement, and Sandy shares a number of lessons from the ongoing transformation of a team's value proposition. I start by asking Sandy, what are the core values of her procurement team?
So we've established 5 core values for our team, which include customer service, collaboration, value creation, innovation, and expertise.
So how did you go about kind of selecting what you thought would be the most important? Or, how did you basically come to decide that those 5 are what you wanted your team to really stand for?
Sure. So customer service is really at the core of what we do for the University of Colorado. We are the Procurement Service Center. So everything we do, both internally for our internal customers and for our suppliers, it's really important that we're providing good customer service.
Yeah.
And then the other ones kind of flow in, the innovation, right? We're very much driven by technology. We have 2 different systems that we use right now. One is Procure to Pay and the other is a travel and expense system. So we're really looked upon by our customers to have the best technology available for them to provide the service so they can do the jobs they're hired to do for the university.
Yeah.
Collaboration is very key, too, to the customer service. We should be collaborating with our faculty and staff so that they can do the research that they've been brought on to do, which is their core mission, and they don't have to worry about the procurement function because we're collaborating with them. And then as far as expertise goes, we want to be looked on as the procurement experts for the University of Colorado. So we make sure we stay on our game as far as knowing what the latest, greatest technology is, any kind of policies that we should be altering in order to make business easier for our customers.
Yeah, when you talk about collaboration, it's so important that we ultimately are helping the folks who are our customers achieve what it is that they need to achieve to further their mission. We're here in service of those. And yes, there's things that come with that, not just letting them do whatever they want. We kind of guide and consult, but just existing to support them in meeting their objectives, I think is really important.
Yes, and we make sure that we go out to the campuses every single day that we're open. I have one of my staff out visiting one of our departments, either because they currently have a procurement or they're just learning more about what it is that department's doing, so when they have a procurement, they can better service them.
Yeah. How are you thinking about measuring success? So what does success look like for you when you look against those values?
So we do 3 surveys every year, and we make sure that they're done the same quarter every year so people know to expect them.
Yeah.
So one survey is measuring the marketplace, another's our travel and expense system, and then customer satisfaction. So we both measure the numbers, then we also have a lot of free-form comments available because that's where we can really get some value out of how they're feeling about the services that we've provided.
Yep.
And then every year on the systems, we ask them, because both of our systems are software as a service, SaaS systems, so they're continuing to innovate those systems, and we too bring that functionality back to CU. And so we want to know, what's your satisfaction with the changes you've seen in the past year?
And the marketplace is your P2P and catalog system, is it?
Exactly.
How do you encourage stakeholders to respond? Because I think that's one of the difficult things when you're putting out surveys is actually getting responses. And I know just from looking at some of the information that's publicly available, it seems like you get some really robust feedback through those surveys that you send out to the stakeholders.
Right. So we encourage people to respond by actually reporting back out what we found in the survey and what action items we're going to take.
Right.
So rather than telling people, hey, if you respond, you might win a $5 Starbucks card,
Right.
we want to kind of put our money where our mouth is, right? And tell them, hey, we listened, here's what we heard. Because even though we get a lot of feedback, we can boil it down to usually 4 or 5 themes and then take action on those themes so that you can actually see that this is what was said and here's what we did.
It's interesting because then you're holding yourself accountable by taking those and making them available for all to see. One, so that they can see a link with feedback and actions, but also that it's not just going into a big black box, never to be seen again.
Right. And I think it also helps us that we're very consistent on the timing. So they know when to expect our survey. Right. They're not wonder when that procurement service center survey is going to come out this year.
They're kind of waiting for it.
We're very consistent. Yes.
Hopefully not waiting for it because I'm going to tell those procurement people something. I'm waiting for this survey to come in.
I'm going to give it to them.
I know. I guess all feedback is good feedback or constructive in some way, right? I know that before we talked, or before we hit the record button, we talked a little bit about your transformation program at CU, and I just wonder if you could share kind of what have some of the greatest successes been as you've been on that transformation journey.
So I would say part of our journey is setting up a really robust strategic procurement area. And so that really was a precursor to bringing up the marketplace because I didn't want to get technology that then would highlight contracts and not have good contracts.
Yes.
So as part of our strategic procurement area, we now have a supplier relationship management program. And then we got good contracts, brought up our catalog system, which we call the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then it's really just made people's life easier. We were able to solve a lot of challenges we had in the procurement area. Like, for example, we were able to do a study and find out that people could get to the right supplier that we had a contract with, but sometimes they wouldn't get our pricing.
Right.
So now that we have the catalog, we know that when they go in there, they're going to get University of Colorado negotiated pricing.
It's interesting that you say that you kind of built a foundation first before looking at technology, because that's something that I do see a lot of folks do, is they think of technology as being it's going to fix everything. Whereas, your view there was interesting that it's actually going to highlight a lot of the challenges and problems that we have if we're using technology, if we don't kind of build a foundation first and then use the technology to take that to the next level.
Yes.
How did you find that some of the stakeholders have responded when you have the marketplace in place and with catalogs, and as you're kind of pushing more of the buying responsibility onto them and taking procurement out of the loop, because essentially procurement using technology is facilitating their involvement as opposed to being a bottleneck?
Right. I would say that we have a very robust procurement card program before we brought up the marketplace, and that has come scaled down, which is what I expected it to do. Yeah. So they were already out there buying. They just were buying without good parameters, I would say.
Yeah. So it's not that they weren't, but now you understand. Now you can kind of see what they're doing, but also have some fence posts around what they're doing as well.
Right, and I would say the other big win for our users is, so a lot of the small dollar purchases have come into Marketplace, and so we have it set up that if it's under our micro purchase limit, which recently got moved to 10,000, and you place your order and the invoice comes in and it matches, they don't have to touch it again.
Right. That's interesting.
And so versus procurement card where they still have to go in and reconcile and add their statement to it. And I would say as part of the transformation, too, after we brought up the marketplace, is all the data that was available to us that we didn't have before that. And so we've been in our strategic procurement area, I have 2 business intelligence staff members. that have helped us take the data, and we actually send out quarterly reports to our departments, showing them what their spend is, how they rank with other on their campus, the university as a whole, which people are very competitive. And so if they're under a certain line, they very much want to know how they can be above that line.
Bring some game theory or economics to it. That's right, gamification.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
yes.
Everybody wants to be first.
Yes. And so we've been able, through both of the systems we brought up, to bring both spend metrics to the departments and also travel spend. And I actually had one of our CFOs on one of the campuses tell me that she sees that quarterly department spend report as important as their budget report and their financial report.
Interesting. That's great that it gets that level of visibility, and also that people are championing it from a CFO level, so that it brings some accountability within the rest of their organizations to actually act on it, doesn't it?
And what I find really interesting is it's now gone from this is a static report that they get quarterly. Well, people want to drill down.
Interesting.
And so they're now pushing us to give them more technology within their spend analytics.
That's great. Yeah, so it kind of changes the conversation, doesn't it? From one way you're trying to insert yourself to the conversation to one way you're actually being the help, the people that you get known in the organization for. We want to go and work with you because we need this information, and then you can start getting involved in more strategic projects too.
Which kind of goes to our collaboration core value.
It all ties together.
It does.
I wanted to ask about relationships. We chatted as well about the importance of relationships to you. I just wonder if you could share how you have maybe some of the initiatives that you do to really strengthen the value of the relationship, both with your stakeholders, but also your suppliers as well.
So with our customers, we have a very outward-facing strategy to go visit them, and then so that's kind of the one-on-one. But I would say probably 7 months out of the year, we have formal events out on the campuses, from supplier showcases to town hall meetings. We also have what we call a no agenda forum, which is just that. We take people from each one of our areas and make them available for a couple hours out on each campus. So if you just have a question, you can come and meet and talk about whatever you want.
Interesting. What kind of question? Because I like the idea of that. Too often we put structure in place and maybe we make ourselves not very accessible. What happens in those meetings, or what kind of questions do you get? What kind of stakeholders or customers show up for those no agenda meetings?
It really runs the gambit between people that have been around a while and just had a question and saw we were having one, so they wanted to come talk face to face, to a new person who maybe we have 6 different tables there representing our different areas. They'll hit every table and ask all these different kinds of questions, and it's just a great entrance opportunity for them to kind of customize it. Yeah,
and not there be no pressure, I guess. I think that's really important, that it's not like you're trying to sell to them or do anything. You're just there to answer their questions. And there's no, as you say, no agenda on your side. It's just to be a help and to build relationships.
Exactly. And so we're always thinking about what could we add to these events that would be valuable for our customers. And so at our supplier showcases last year, and we're going to do it in the spring where we have travel expos, we brought in TSA so that we're not going to pay for it, but we're making it available. So if you want to sign up and come and get your TSA pre-check, we make it available for you. And we were a little nervous because if we don't fill it up, there's ramifications. Both times it's filled up in one day after we announced it.
Well, I have one last question before we wrap up. I like to ask this question of CPOs because, the world of procurement is changing, and obviously we're all kind of have aspirations to be as fulfilled as we can in our work, and that means standing out from the crowd often. So from your view, when you look at procurement professionals and high potential procurement professionals, what do you look for people who really stand out from the crowd?
I would say we're looking for people that can really foster and maintain relationships.
Yeah.
That's really where it's at for us. We can teach procurement. We can, so I mean, as long as you have a good base in whatever position we're hiring, it's being able to go in and talk to the dean of the department and not be intimidated by that. And so I think it's really, that is the key thing that we're looking for at this point, all other things being equal.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Rev It Up, powered by Jagger. Check out the rest in this series and, of course, tweet myself at @PEidson or our guests with any questions and comments using the hashtag REV2018.